It isn't Christmas without a bit of Harry Potter, so I thought I would read a passage or two about Christmas from each of the books, because I love Harry Potter and I love Christmas at Hogwarts. So here we go. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Chapter 12, The Mirror of Erised. Christmas was coming. One morning in mid-December, Hogwarts woke to find itself covered in several feet of snow. The lake froze solid and the Weasley twins were punished for bewitching several snowballs so they followed Quirrell around, bouncing off the back of his turban. The few owls that had managed to battle their way through the stormy sky to deliver posts had been nursed back to health by Hagrid before they could fly off again. No one could wait for the holidays to start. While the Gryffindor common room and the Great Hall had roaring fires, the drafty corridors had become icy and a bitter wind rattled the windows in their classrooms. Worst of all were Professor Snape's classes down in the dungeons, where their breath rose in a mist before them and they kept as close as possible to their hot cauldrons. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 12, The Polyjuice Potion. No one, not even someone dreading taking Polyjuice Potion later, could fail to enjoy Christmas dinner at Hogwarts. The Great Hall looked magnificent. Not only were there a dozen frost-covered Christmas trees and thick streamers of holly and mistletoe crisscrossing the ceiling, but enchanted snow was falling warm and dry from the ceiling. Dumbledore led them in a few of his favourite carols, Hagrid booming more and more loudly with every goblet of eggnog he consumed. Percy, who hadn't noticed that Fred had bewitched his prefect badge so it now said Pinhead, kept asking them all what they were sniggering at. Harry didn't even care that Draco Malfoy was making loud, snide remarks about his new jumper from the Slytherin table. With a bit of luck, Malfoy would be getting his comeuppance in a few hours' time. Harry and Ron had barely finished their third helpings of Christmas pudding when Hermione ushered them out of the hall to finalise their plans for the evening. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Chapter 11, The Firebolt. On Christmas morning, Harry had awoken to Ron throwing his pillow at him. "Oi, presents." Harry reached for his glasses and put them on, squinting through the semi-darkness to the foot of his bed where a small heap of parcels had appeared. Ron was already ripping the paper off his own presents. Another jumper from Mum, maroon again. "See if you've got one." Harry had. Mrs. Weasley had sent him a scarlet jumper with a Gryffindor lion knitted on the front, also a dozen home-baked mince pies, some Christmas cake, and a box of nut brittle. As he moved all of the things aside, he saw a long, thin package lying underneath. "What's that?" said Ron, looking over a freshly unwrapped pair of maroon socks in his hand. "Dunno." Harry ripped the parcel open and gasped at a magnificent gleaming broomstick rolled out onto his bedspread. Ron dropped his socks and jumped off his bed for a closer look. "I don't believe it," he said hoarsely. It was a firebolt. Identical to the dream broom Harry had gone to see every day in the Diagon Alley, its handle glittered as he picked it up. He could feel it vibrating and let it go. It hung in mid-air, unsupported, at exactly the right height for him to mount it. His eyes moved to the golden registration number at the top of the handle, right down to the perfectly smooth, streamlined birch twigs that made up the tail. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Chapter 23, The Yule Ball. Harry's other presents were much more satisfactory than Dobby's old socks, with the obvious exception of the Dursleys, which consists of a single tissue and all-time low. Harry supposed they too were remembering the Tung Toffee. Hermione had given Harry a book called Quidditch Teams of Britain and Ireland, Ron a bulging bag of dumb bombs, Sirius a handy penknife with attachments to unlock any lock and undo any knot, and Hagrid a vast box of sweets including all of Harry's favourites, Bertie Bott's every flavour beans, chocolate frogs, Drubal's best blowing gum, and fizzing Whizbees. There was also, of course, Mrs. Weasley's usual package, including a new jumper, green, with a picture of a dragon on it. Harry supposed Charlie had told her all about the horntail, and a large quantity of homemade mince pies. Harry and Ron met up with Hermione in the common room and they went down to breakfast together. They spent most of the morning in Gryffindor Tower where everyone was enjoying their presents, then returned to the Great Hall for a magnificent lunch, which included at least 100 turkeys and Christmas puddings and large piles of cribbages wizarding crackers. They went out into the grounds in the afternoon. The snow was untouched except for the deep channels made by the Durmstrang and Beauxbaton students on their way up to the castle. Hermione chose to watch Harry and the Weasleys snowball fight rather than join in, and at 5 o'clock she said she was going back upstairs to get ready for the ball. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 21, The Eye of the Snake. December arrived, bringing with it more snow and a positive avalanche of homework for the 5th years. Ron and Hermione's prefect duties also became more and more onerous as Christmas approached. They were called upon to supervise the decoration of the castle. You try putting up tinsel while Peeves has got the other end and is trying to strangle you with it, said Ron. To watch over first and second years spending their break times inside because of the bitter cold, and their cheeky little snot rags, you know. We definitely weren't that rude when we were in first year, said Ron. And to patrol the corridors with Argus Filch, who suspected the holiday spirit might show itself in an outbreak of wizard duels. He's got done for brains, that one, said Ron furiously. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Chapter 15, The Unbreakable Vow. Snow was swirling against the icy windows once more. Christmas was approaching fast. Hagrid had already single-handedly delivered the usual 12 Christmas trees for the Great Hall. Garlands of holly and tinsel had been twisted around the banisters of the stairs. Everlasting candles glowed from the insides of helmets, of suits of armour, and great bunches of mistletoe had been hung at intervals along the corridors. Large groups of girls tended to converge underneath the mistletoe bunches every time Harry went past, which caused blockages in the corridor. Fortunately, however, Harry's frequent nighttime wanderings had given him an unusually good knowledge of the castle's secret passageways, so he was able to, without too much difficulty, navigate mistletoe-free routes between classes. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Chapter 16, Godric's Hollow. The singing grew louder as they approached the church. It made Harry's throat constrict. It reminded him so forcefully of Hogwarts, of Peeves bellowing rude versions of carols from inside suits of armour and the Great Hall's 12 Christmas trees, of Dumbledore wearing a bonnet he had won and a cracker, of Ron in a hand-knitted sweater. It isn't Christmas if I don't think about Harry Potter for a good chunk of the day. And Hogwarts has always been a great place for Christmas, and it's always where I go back to. So to not acknowledge Hogwarts for me always feels a bit disrespectful. So this is me honouring that tradition in a new kind of way. And if I don't manage to post something before the new year, I hope it's good to you. So I will see you when I next see you. And goodbye.